Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talking About Balls. I am Justin George. I am solo today. Kyle had to fill in for somebody bowling, I think it was. I don't think he's in a league like last season. I believe this is just a one-time temporary thing. Somebody couldn't make it. So here I am doing the show solo. George will be filling in for Kyle's picks. I just sent them over. Kyle did get his picks in time. So we'll be ready to kick off the season. But without further ado, we are back. It's been a lovely couple of weeks off. I'm going to take out my headphone because I have nobody to talk to yet, so I don't need it in. But yeah, it's been a good couple of weeks. Keeping busy with the family, constantly doing shit. Just had Labor Day weekend over the weekend. Had a college football season started. Took Teddy to Oktoberfest. I watched the Ohio State game at Kyle's house. Just been getting the house cleaned up. We're having our big annual Browns tailgate cornhole party that we used to throw every year back in Brook Park, having it for the first time here in our new house. So we're looking forward to that this coming Saturday. Should be fun. Let me get out of the private chat here. I always forget to do that. Excuse me. But yeah, no, life's been pretty fun. I'm trying to think of the last time we did a show here. What happened after that? Obviously, the Browns had a third and final preseason game, and then there was nothing. Which was great. I'll definitely be talking about that. Even though it's a little old news now, we've had a week to digest the whole Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel drama, if you will. Browns had roster cuts. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about who made the team, who surprisingly did not. I'll be blunt. Not a lot of surprises, in my opinion. But yeah, so life's been pretty common. Again, last weekend, I'm trying to think the weekend before that of what I actually did. I don't even remember. I know what I did for Oktoberfest weekend, or Labor Day weekend, I should say. But the weekend before, let me have a gander here because I don't remember. I don't think we did anything. I don't remember. Either way. Yeah, so last weekend we did. I went to Kyle's house for the Ohio State game at noon, watched Ohio State beat Texas 14-7, then went to Oktoberfest at the Berea Fairgrounds. We did that on Saturday evening, took Teddy, met up with some friends and their daughter, and then we went to some cookouts on Sunday, hung out with family, and that was it. Monday, I cut the grass. We put up Halloween decorations, just getting the house ready for this party on Saturday. It's pretty much it. This one's not as in-depth as the 4th of July party that we had. When we did the 4th of July party over the summer, we went all out to clean up the whole house top to bottom. This Browns party is pretty much just come play cornhole, get drunk, eat some food. It's not that important. Just a fun thing to do before the season. I have fallen in love, not necessarily with the canned version, but vodka transfusion. Never heard of it before till recently. Basically, it's like a highball. It's vodka, lime juice, a little bit of lime juice, ginger ale, and then a splash of grape juice. I don't know where they come up with the shit, but it's fantastic. I'm obsessed with them. So I've been drinking those a lot lately, and I make them myself. Now, Cutwater makes them in a can, vodka transfusion. They're okay. They're not bad. I prefer the homemade ones personally, but not going to stop me from drinking them. They're easier than making yourself. Yeah, so a couple weeks ago, I did buy I don't remember where we let off. So I bought a brick oven pizza maker. So I made some pizzas. We hung out at home. We went over to the mother and father-in-law's house. They hosted everybody. And we went over there one night. And Teddy went slip and sliding, had a blast. Just had a pretty good time. But that's really it. I mean, that's life when you're an adult with a kid. I don't do anything. We have some fun here and there, but my weeknights are boring as fuck. I get up, I go to work, I come home from work, hang out with the family, go to bed. It's pretty much it. Weekends, most of the time, kind of the same deal. Like last weekend, nothing crazy. Friday night, Tara had her friend over. I had a couple fantasy football drafts last week. Tara had a friend come over. I just hung out in the den. I watched college football, played a little video games. And then got up Saturday, and that's when I went to Kyle's for Ohio State. We went to Oktoberfest, came back. The wife and I just sat in the hot tub. We like to just take the TV out there on nice nights, watch TV, sit in the hot tub. We caught up on Peacemaker. We caught up on Dexter. We finished Love on the Spectrum. We started that a few weeks ago on Netflix, finished that series. And then we'll throw on like a cheesy horror movie or something like that. But that's usually how we end our nights on the weekends. Weeknights, I don't really like to go in the hot tub. I like to just save it for the weekend. It's more fun that way. Get some drinks, go out there late while Teddy's sleeping. We'll see. Maybe this weekend. Probably not, actually, now that I think about it, because we're having the party. Completely forgot about that. Maybe Sunday, though. If the weather's kind of shitty and the Browns are playing like shit, I can sit in the hot tub and watch football. I've never done that yet. That'll be fun. Maybe. It's not really BS, because, again, the BS part, my life is kind of boring, so I'm kind of thinking about incorporating more of, like, current events a little bit to talk about in here, which just because I like to keep up with the news. It doesn't necessarily have to be political or anything like that. I know everything nowadays is turned into political bullshit, but it doesn't have to be. One of the biggest things that's come to my attention, just because I'm a fan of his, or I still am, but like it's not the same. Howard Stern. I'm sure all of you guys saw weeks ago that. Hang on, let me post this. I forgot to share this episode live with the 2025. If I could spell, that would help. Live with the 2025 season now. Thank you for watching. And then I copy so I can paste later. And now I go down to share. And then I go to group. I'm going to walk you guys through how I do this. Now I go down to group. I paste my message. And then I have to search. So now I search podcast. And then I hit share 1,000 times. But what I was getting at, though, about the Howard Stern thing, I'm sure you guys saw a couple weeks ago, there was a story that said Howard Stern had been, quote-unquote, canceled because Sirius isn't renewing his contract. They're letting him go. And, again, the emphasis on the word canceled, they put the word canceled on there just to show you how stupid people are. He wasn't canceled because if they don't renew your contract, you're not canceled. They just didn't renew your contract. Being canceled is very fucking different than just not getting your contract renewed. But I digress. So that's the big story. It came out a couple of months ago. Every year, ever since Howard Stern went to Sirius, he has gotten, I don't want to say lazier because he deserves it. He's an older guy who's earned everything he's got. He's almost worth like $1 billion. Dude's done well. Excuse me. So he works 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and he tends to take the entire summer off. They call it Howard Stern Summer School. And he was projected to return Tuesday of this week. And he was going to return, and he was going to make his announcement on what it was that happened while he was away. And now all of a sudden, I actually canceled my Sirius subscription back in like May. My subscription had ended. I was getting like the $4.99 a month deal, and I really wasn't using it. I really don't listen to Howard Stern anymore. I have the MLB app, so I don't need to listen to Major League Baseball games. Football season's over with. They do stream all the football games, but the football season's not in season. So I was like, what the fuck? Why pay for this? I don't use it. So I stopped. And then a few days ago, they hound you with emails when you cancel. It is daily. I finally got an email that just said, hey, $4 a month for 12 months, you can come back to Sirius. And I was like, for $4. And this was the night. This was Monday night, actually, Labor Day. I'm like, Howard Stern's supposed to come back tomorrow to make his big announcement. $4 a month. I was like, what? It's not that bad. So I was like, fuck it. I'll pay for that. So basically $50 for the year. So I was like, fuck it. I'll do it. And then I wake up the next morning, and that's when they announced, Howard Stern delayed. It's going to be next week. Now he's going to make the announcement. He's taking another week off. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? But, I have it for the year, so whatever. It just sucks. I kind of wanted to hear the announcement. I don't think anything's going to really happen. I'm guessing he signed another contract to stay on for another couple of years because he is like 75 years old or whatever. Maybe not that old, but still. I'm thinking he's going to stay. I really do. Again, the stories that came out of him being canceled just shows you how stupid people are. And it was the same thing with fucking Cracker Barrel. If everybody remembers, a week ago, all the stories were about Cracker Barrel. Now, this is my putting on the tinfoil hat here for everybody to tell you what I think happened. There are times, and I tried to explain this to people who I guess had never heard this, and that's kind of shocking to me that people don't know that. You'll see news articles or stories circulating that'll say like, new Netflix movie is so scary and gross that people were puking and throwing up and blah, blah, blah. And there's always crazy stories that come out about shit. What was the one that came out a few years ago? Well, I take that back. Probably 8 years ago when the last Stranger Things came out. Stranger Things takes place in like the 80s. So back then everyone was smoking. It was very prominent. Netflix loves to have people smoking in their shows. Watch the show Narcos, one of my favorite shows personally. Watch the show Narcos. Every single person's just constantly chain smoking. They love doing smoking on Netflix. Whatever. So with Stranger Things, it's kind of more of a kid's show, although it is a little like, I don't want to say scary, but you know what I mean. It's a little adult-ish at times, but it's also meant for kids. Kids love it. It's about kids. Well, it was. Now they're all older than me somehow. That show started when they were all teenagers, and they're now older than me. That's how fucking long it's taken Netflix to finish it out. But anyway, there was a story years ago after one of the new seasons came out. They were like, people are outraged with all the smoking and Stranger Things and blah, 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 blah. No one fucking cares. That story is so fake and made up. And you know who's making it up? Netflix makes up these stories. Netflix pays news stations to run stories that make it seem like their stuff's crazy and people are pissed and there's outrage and this, because that makes people go, well, I want to see it. Why is everyone so mad? Why are people throwing up at this movie? I need to watch it. And then you watch it and you go, what the fuck would somebody throw up for that? And then you realize, oh, they're full of shit. That's how media works. My theory, tinfoil hat again, for Cracker Barrel, which is brilliant in my opinion, if this is true, and again, pure speculation. Cracker Barrel posted, this was a few weeks ago, that they were making some changes to their logo. They were getting rid of the old man, and they're going simple. Their brand logo is going to be very simple, and it's common nowadays. A lot of people do that. But anyway, so they say that they're doing that. People are fucking outraged. For whatever they say, it's woke. Just because they're changing their logo. It has nothing to do with it. They never once came out and said, like, hey, we're getting rid of this old man because it symbolizes racism, or it does this, it does that, or it's insensitive to so-and-so. They didn't say a fucking word. They just said, hey, we're getting rid of the old man in the barrel, and we're changing our logo. It's just going to say Cracker Barrel, same colors, but we're just getting rid of the old man. That's it. And people lost their fucking mind. Cracker Barrel was the talk of the town on social media for days. Mind you, I haven't been to a Cracker Barrel in God knows how long. I'm guessing most of the people that were bitching and moaning about it haven't either. But they have to complain about something. So everybody's up in arms about how fucking woke Cracker Barrel is and how woke, go broke, and blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, Netflix comes out and says, or not Netflix, I'm sorry, Cracker Barrel comes out and says, we listen to our supporters. We are not changing our logo. Interesting. Think about it. Cracker Barrel made a social media post saying they're changing their logo, showed said logo, didn't actually make any changes, didn't actually tear signs down, didn't actually replace anything. And then a week later said, no, we're not doing that anymore. We're going to stick with what we have. What did that cost them? Nothing. Free publicity. Got everybody and their brother, the fucking president, because he does nothing better to do apparently than to tweet about Cracker Barrel, a restaurant he probably goes to regularly, if I'm being honest. There's a certain type of people, and no disrespect to those that do it. I made jokes during the election season with my buddies that there's certain types of people in the world. There are chain restaurant people, and there's everybody else. Chain restaurant people probably lean a little more right, in my opinion. And that's just people that are a little conservative. They don't want to go to a new restaurant down the street with a, privately owned local business. They want to go to Chili's. They want to go to Applebee's. They want to go to Cracker Barrel. It makes them happy. That's their comfort. So again, conservative. conservatives. I'm not saying it as like a negative thing, but my joke was kind of like, hey, chain restaurant people tend to like Trump a little bit more. Sure enough, again, because the guy has nothing better to do, Trump tweets about Cracker Barrel because they decided to not change their logo, and he's commending them for, listening to the people and not going woke and blah, blah, blah. And that's the other thing. People need to stop saying the word woke. You don't know what the fuck it means. Cracker Barrel didn't go woke for changing their logo. That is not what fucking woke means. But I digress. Just wanted to talk a little current events. I didn't really come prepared with current events, but I think in the future I'd like to talk a little more about what's going on in the world around us. And again, I'm not trying to get political. This is just how the fucking world works nowadays. We literally have Cracker Barrel in the news because conservatives and MAGA people went crazy because they decided to change their logo. Again, a restaurant most of them probably haven't gone to in years. They freaked out about it. But again, free publicity. Now Cracker Barrel makes all these people think they listen to them, might make those people go, hey, honey, let's go to Cracker Barrel. They decided to stay true to themselves. Let's go give them some of our business. Smart move by Cracker Barrel. Let's be honest. And then I forgot what else I was talking about before that, but I digress. So yeah, a couple things about the news I'd like to kind of start doing a little more often, but we'll worry about that another time when I actually come prepared, because basically all my news I just get off social media. And again, everything's just littered with politics because we have a president that's like a teenage girl where everything has to be a press conference and everything has to be a quote and everything gets, whether not even his own fault, everybody talks about every fucking move he makes. So every little thing gets posted about, and then everyone has to defend it and like his people. So if he makes a quote that sounds dumb as fuck, everyone in the media is going to post it to make him look like an idiot. Then all of his people, from J.D. Vance down to whomever, have to go online and defend it. And now it's just a flooded fucking thing on social media because he said something dumb. Like, what was it yesterday or whatever? They were like, hey, we saw a video of, there were guys throwing garbage bags out of the window at the White House. What's that about? And he right away just goes, oh, that's AI. Those windows don't open. They're bulletproof. They weigh 1,000 pounds. They can't be opened. That's AI. And then he even admitted, he goes, yeah, if there's something you don't like, just say it's AI and say it's fake. I'm like, okay, that's a fair tactic, I guess, if people believe that. So anyway, so he comes out right away and he's like, it's fake. It's AI. You can't open up those windows. Then an hour later, the White House tweets out, oh, those were contractors throwing out garbage. So it was real? Those windows do open? Like, what the fuck? I thought this was supposed to be the most transparent regime in presidential history, and he's fucking lying to your face about the window. Like, you can't just admit that there was a guy throwing out garbage? I don't get it. It's just so dumb. But that's the kind of shit that happens. Is something so stupid as a fucking garbage bag getting tossed out the window turn into a story, because he can't just say, hey, there's a guy throwing out garbage. He lied. He had to just fucking lie about it, make an AI story. It's just crazy. The world we live in nowadays, it's absurd. I highly recommend checking out the movie with Luke Wilson, Idiocracy, if you never have. Dax Shepard, Luke Wilson, Terry Crews. Fantastic movie. Highly recommend checking it out. Just check it out. That's all I can say. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's the news. I mean, obviously sports news we talk about on here, so there's not really a whole lot to get into in the briefing portion of the show, but we will get into sports. So without further ado, let's do just that. We're going to talk about the Browns. Obviously, we saved the Browns-Bengals pick for the end of the show, but the Browns did play the Los Angeles Rams on 2 Saturdays ago, and they won. Dylan Gabriel looked pretty good. He drove down for a touchdown, 2-minute drive, looked decent all day. Shedeur Sanders looked awful, and that's going to happen, guys. He's a rookie 5th-round pick. There were the people that freaked out for the whole weekend and then the week after. Even still, I'm sure if you would have listened to any, I didn't listen to anything today, but I'm sure if you would have listened to any Cleveland radio show, probably still talking about Shedeur Sanders. I know I talk about this dude a lot, but I like Tony Rizzo. He is obsessed with Shedeur Sanders. Like, he's emotionally invested, and I truly believe that he's doing it just for the show. It's good for radio because he's acting obsessed, but I also think there's a part of him because he really does think he's like the coolest fucking dude in the world, even though I like the show and all, but you're not that hip, buddy. I think he's trying to act like if he's really loves fucking the concept of Shedeur Sanders being our franchise quarterback one day, if he's like his biggest cheerleader, that maybe he'll get Deion on the show and he'll be able to get in close with Deion Sanders. That's kind of what I think is going on with it, because he works with Tony Grossi. For those of you that aren't familiar with Tony Grossi was a longtime Browns reporter, beat writer for the Plain Dealer. He sent out a nasty tweet that was supposed to be a direct message, but he accidentally tweeted it out about the owners at the time. It was the Lerner family, and he got fired from the Plain Dealer because of it. So ESPN 850 hired him, and he's been working with ESPN 850 for a while. And he is ESPN Cleveland's Browns reporter. So he goes on the show every day at 10 o'clock to talk Browns, as if they're not talking Browns the rest of the show, but they do him specifically at 10 o'clock. Him and Riz have gotten into yelling matches recently, and Grossi, I think, is in the right. Grossi has flat out said, why are you so emotionally invested in this kid? He's a fifth-round quarterback. Like, every day Rizzo's on there saying, I think Shedeur's going to be better than Gabriel, and I think they didn't give him a fair chance, and blah, blah, blah. And Grossi's like, what the hell's your obsession with this kid? He's a fifth-round pick. Like, get over it. And he's like, I think he's going to be good, blah, blah, blah. And just throws a fit. So, I mean, it's entertaining radio because it makes you just listen and just go like, these guys are fucking idiots. And then it gets everyone in the comments on YouTube to talk because they're like, Riz, you sound like a fucking idiot. But it's getting everybody engaged. So if it's engagement bait, 10 out of 10. They are knocking it out of the park. But Shedeur played like shit. Shedeur had 11 dropbacks to pass. He got sacked 6 times, I think, maybe 5. And he lost total because he only threw for like 12 yards, and he got sacked for negative whatever. So on the day, he had negative 25 yards, I think, of total offense for himself. He got sacked a ton. I think he got sacked 5 times because he completed 3 passes out of 6. So he was 50% passing, and he had 11 dropbacks. So he got sacked 5 times. So 5 sacks, 3 incompletions, 3 completions for 12 yards or whatever the fuck. And then his sacks equaled like, I don't remember, like give or take minus 40 something yards. So then you add the passing yards, and yeah, he had like basically negative 25 yards on the day. Horrible. But the big thing that everyone tried to blame is the Browns. They tried to say, well, the Browns set him out there to fail. They put him out there with a bunch of backups that got cut. A couple fun facts for everybody that doesn't want to hear it. 3 of the 5 offensive linemen that were blocking for Shedeur Sanders that did end up getting cut the next day also blocked for Dillon Gabriel. 3 of the 5. More than 50%. That's 60%. I don't want to tell you guys how to do math. 60% of the offensive line also blocked for Dillon Gabriel. He didn't get sacked once. He drove a touchdown drive in the 2-minute drill. And then those same offensive linemen that everyone said were awful for Shedeur Sanders, they were out there for Tyler Huntley. Because Tyler Huntley got the ball for the final 2-minute drive of the game, and he drove him down to get in field goal range to win the game from Schmidt. But you don't spell it like that. It's very interesting to see it spelled out. I keep saying Schmeld because his name is Schmidt, and it's like SZMDT or something fucking weird. Speaking of roster cuts, though, that was a bit of a shocker, but not that shocking. Dustin Hopkins was cut. We have a new kicker. Schmidt for the win. Some other cuts that happened. Pierre Strong got cut. That one really wasn't too surprising to me. I was telling my buddies about that in the preseason because he was getting a lot of snaps in like the 3rd and 4th quarter of games, and I said he's probably on the bubble, and no one believed me. He got released. Deontay Johnson, of course, got cut, which, again, who didn't see that one coming? Realistically, there were, aside from Dustin Hopkins, there were not really many cuts. Hey, Steve, what's up, man? Not really many cuts that came out of left field. Even Hopkins getting cut didn't surprise me personally. A lot of young undrafted guys made it, I think, more than ever in Andrew Berry's tenure as GM. Normally, he likes to keep his own guys, and he doesn't like using young rookies. He likes kind of using some prove-it guys. But we decided to bring in a lot of undrafted guys. We obviously kept Isaiah Bond. We kept... the fuck's his name? The wide receiver. I'm drawing a blank on his name. It's a funny name, too. It's irritating that I can't remember his name. Aiden Huntington was kept as an undrafted free agent. It's going to bother me. I got to look it up. Browns undrafted. Oh, here we go. Browns undrafted free agents. Gage Larvadin. That's it. I didn't even find it yet. Is it on here? Yeah, Gage Larvadin. There it is. I was right. Okay, so Gage Larvadin made the team. That was a good one. Aiden Huntington made the team. And just interesting. And then the Browns made some good moves. Smelly Kitchen. What does that mean? Smelly Kitchen, like Freddie Kitchens? They also kept I lost my train of thought. Oh, they on the practice squad, they picked up former first-round draft pick. What's his first name? Not Carson. Strange. I can't remember his first name. From the New England Patriots. He was a first-round pick center, and the Browns picked him up. Strange, 69, probably going to be the hottest-selling jersey in Cleveland. And they got him for the practice squad. The Browns years ago was Molly Kitchen. Oh, yeah, fuck, I forgot about him. I can't remember his name either, but it basically did sound like it was like Smelly Kitchen. And then, shit, that was a long time ago, too. That was like mid-2000s, I think, wasn't it? That was a long time ago. We're going in the way, way back machine on that one. I don't have my screen zoomed in, George, so I can't even read what's popping up, if I'm being honest with you right now. I was thinking about the practice squad. They signed Strange, and they signed Malachi Corley, the former second-round wide receiver from the Jets, who didn't do anything with the Jets, basically got benched because he fumbled the ball a foot away from the end zone. He did that classic move where he started celebrating too early, and he dropped the ball, and it was funny. Very, very funny. Is it Carson Strange? Am I crazy? I think it's Carson Strange. We'll see. Oh, here we go. Practice squad. We found it. Cole Strange. Okay, I knew it started with a C. But yeah, there you can see the Browns practice squad right there. Bailey Zappi, Amani Marshall, Travion Williams, Malachi Corley, Caden Davis, Brendan Bates, Sal Cannella, Garrett Dellinger, Cole Strange, Logan Brown, Sam Kamara, Julian Akwara, Dufan Ufadishia, whatever. Good luck with that one. Lamarian James, Dom Jones, and Christopher Edmonds makes up your practice squad for the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, that's going to come and go and change, and somebody gets hurt this week, somebody comes in next week. We'll figure it all out. But for right now, nothing really too crazy happened. It was just spent basically the entire week. We have a game coming up this Sunday, and the last 2 weeks have been spent on Shedeur Sanders and how he was treated unfairly. And you have all these radio guys, but again, it's all, as I mentioned earlier, with the stuff about how articles come out from companies specifically because they just want engagement. It's the same thing with these fucking shows. They're out there saying Kevin Stefanski's, giving Shedeur a raw deal, and they're purposely setting him up for failure. What fucking team would draft a player and purposely sabotage him? Do you really think that's happening in the NFL? Are you fucking stupid? Look at Johnny Manziel, for instance. Johnny Manziel's been going on a media circus tour, and he is still bashing the Cleveland Browns, the team that traded up to draft him. I think they traded up. Either way, they drafted him in the first round. I think they traded up for him. I don't remember. Did we have 2 picks that year anyway? I don't remember. I try to forget that draft because no one likes to talk about Justin Gilbert being a top 10 draft pick for the Browns, and he was one of the worst football players of all time. The guy couldn't even be a kick returner, for fuck's sake. He was so bad. That was one of the worst draft picks I've ever. Makes me sick. We did trade up for him. Yeah, so they traded up, drafted Johnny Manziel, and tried to give this dude a shot. They wanted this guy to be the face of their franchise. He was electric in college. He was a commodity. Everyone wanted to see him, must-see kind of player. Came to the NFL, fully admitted in his documentary that he was a piece of shit. He was partying, doing drugs. He wasn't reading the playbook, didn't care at all, late to practice all the time. He would skip town during the week to go party in Vegas and do drugs and do all this shit, then come in and try to play in the game and got completely embarrassed. He was one of the worst football players I've ever seen touch the field. He was released by the Browns, and no team ever even attempted to sign him. His career was over. Fast forward 10 years later, he's on podcasts now, and he's bashing the Browns, the team that gave him a shot, the team that just wanted him to try. If he came to practice and tried and failed, this city would have nothing but, people would still hate him, but they wouldn't be as bad about it. Knowing that he didn't give a fuck and disrespected the team and the city and the fans that much, they hate him. So now he's doing damage control, if you will, and he's going on all these radio shows and podcasts, and he's basically shitting on the city of Cleveland. He said the city of Cleveland was awful and he hated living here. Yesterday or a couple days ago, he went on another podcast and he said basically that he hates the Browns still. This is a quote. He roots for them to go 0-16 every year. 17 games, Johnny, you fucking idiot. The dude, not only did he not study his own playbook, he didn't watch any film. He clearly doesn't watch any film nowadays either because he still thinks there's 16 games, and there's been 17 for a few years now, Johnny, you fucking dummy. So as a rebuttal to Johnny Manziel, who said that he also did a show with Braylon Edwards, too. Let me talk about Braylon really quick. Braylon Edwards basically said the same thing. Said during the week he liked to beat his girlfriend. Yeah, he got arrested for domestic violence, which is crazy. He's so little. I'm kind of shocked she didn't whip his ass. But he was on a show. Braylon Edwards apparently has a podcast, and Manziel was on there, and they both just shit on Cleveland. And Braylon Edwards said the same thing. He said they used to go partying during the week and, blah, 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 late to practice, this and that. So you basically have these pieces of shit. I hated Braylon Edwards from the minute we drafted him, and I'll tell you why. I may have told the story on the show before, but if not, I will tell it again. I think it was my very first NFL draft. Yeah, it was. Very first NFL draft, 2005, Javits Center in New York. I think it was in New York, maybe New Jersey. I don't remember what city the Javits Center's in. I think it's New York. But anyway, I'm at the Javits Center. I'm a young kid. In 2015 or 2005, I'm sorry, I was 15 years old or something like that, maybe, give or take. So I was a kid. So I'm so excited. My uncle took me to the draft. I'm fucking pumped. Never been to anything like it in my life. Alex Smith goes number 1. Number 2, I think, was Ronnie. Fuck, what was it? What was his name? Was it Cadillac Williams? Did Cadillac Williams go number 2? I don't remember. There were some running backs that they weren't very good, but there were some running backs that went early. And then the Browns had the 3rd overall pick. Browns draft wide receiver Braylon Edwards out of Michigan. I've always said it. I like Ohio State, but I don't care to hate on other schools. I like talking shit about Michigan because it's fun, but I don't actually care. So drafting a guy from Michigan, don't give a fuck. So drafting Braylon Edwards, I'm like, whatever, cool. Here's, the top wide receiver in the draft. Love it. I go down to where the players are walking and doing interviews and stuff like that. And I thought, hey, I'm wearing Brown stuff. If I get to meet the guy the Browns just took, maybe he'll sign an autograph for me or something. Because back then I don't even think there were smartphones, so I couldn't take a picture or anything. So I go down there and I find this group of people all wearing Browns hats and dressed up nicely and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, huh, interesting. And I go, oh, this must be his family, his family and friends that he brought with him. And I'm thinking they're going to be standing there oh my God, we're so fucking happy. He's drafted. He's in the NFL. This is amazing. All these years of hard work and practice and blah, blah, blah paid off, right? That's what you would think. Didn't happen that way. Let me tell you. I go in there and I just say, hey, are you guys with Braylon? And they just go, yeah. And he's going to show the league why I think the first 2 picks, it was obviously the Niners who took Alex Smith. Number 2 overall pick, I don't remember. It was either the Dolphins, the Bears, or the Buccaneers. I don't remember who had the number 2 pick that year. Somebody look that up if you don't mind. 2025 or 2005 draft. But whatever. So they're bitching and moaning, and all they're doing is going, yeah, he's going to show the Niners and the whoever, the Buccaneers, whatever, why he should have gone 1 and 2. I can't believe they let him fall to 3 and blah, blah, blah. That's all they cared about. They were just pissed because back then there was no salary cap for the rookies. There's a rookie wage scale right now. Back then there was not. So if you were the number 1 overall pick, you were getting a fuck ton of money. Look at Sam Bradford, these types of guys that got these quarterbacks that got these huge signing bonuses, and they sucked. But you had to pay these guys a ton of money just to be on your team. Cadillac with the Dolphins. It was, okay, I knew it was a shitty running back. I just couldn't remember which one. There were a few in that draft. So I go down there to meet him again. I'm 15 years old. I'm all excited. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get to meet Braylon Edwards. And no, his family's just bitching and moaning about how he should have gone higher in the draft. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of shitty. Okay, Ronnie Brown. That's who it was. Ronnie Brown was taken by the Dolphins, number 2. Chicago took Cedric Benson, and Cadillac Williams with the Tampa 5. I was in the ballpark. Okay. All 3 sucked. Doesn't matter. But, so that's my first introduction to Braylon Edwards. Okay, whatever. Again, I'm a young kid. His family's emotional. I didn't actually meet Braylon that day, so whatever. No harm, no foul. Now we go to training camp. Braylon Edwards, if you guys remember back then, it was very common for high draft picks to hold out. So he held out for a while, missed a good chunk of training camp. This was back when training camp had no tickets. It was completely free to get into. They did 2-a-days. I was a kid, so I was on summer break. So I would go to pretty much every practice that I could. I'd go in the first thing in the morning practice, and then I'd go to the afternoon practice. I loved going and watching it, getting autographs. I became like friendly with players. I won't say we became friends, but like there were players that recognized me from being up there and like would shoot the shit with me and stuff like that. Very nice people. Shout out to James King. He was never a good football player, but James King was a super nice dude. He was I believe a safety. He was with the Browns for one off season for training camp. Didn't make the team. I don't think he ever played in the NFL, but he was nice as fuck. He honestly a couple times told me that like he'd go in and like grab gloves and like stuff to give us because I'd go with my cousins who were a little younger than me, and he was the nicest fucking dude. He'd sign every autograph he could. He was giving out his stuff. He was such a fucking good dude. But anyway, so Braylon Edwards holds out for a couple of weeks, whatever, to get more money because, you know, who doesn't want more money, but kind of selfish, wouldn't you say, to hold out? So he's there. It's like his first or second practice with the fans. I'm right up at the front getting his autograph. He's signing a card for me, and it's a zoo. I'm fucking pinned in there. I can't move. I don't know if you guys have ever been to training camp or if you have, you know, are familiar. Back then they used to just have ropes, basically, a little thin rope. So I'm up against the rope. I'm literally front and center. He signs my autograph. I put the card back that he signed, and I'm just stuck there. And I'm like, shit, I can't move. Like I literally have nowhere to go. So I'm like, while I'm here, I pull out a second Braylon Edwards card. I'm holding it out. And I'm like, fuck it. If he's going to sign, I'll have him sign too. He grabs it, has the marker, gets ready to sign, looks at me and goes, didn't I just sign for you? Don't be selfish. Hands me the card back. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You just held out for 2 weeks of your NFL career for more money because you're a selfish piece of shit. Your whole family bitched and moaned because you didn't go 1 or 2 because you would have gotten more money, and you won't sign a fucking card for me because you say I'm selfish because I wanted 2 autographs from the number 3 overall pick? You fucking dickhead. I get it. I get where he's coming from, but it's just very hypocritical. And again, I was a kid. I was like 15. So to look at a child and go, you're selfish for trying to get a second autograph, that's fucking bananas to me. But whatever. Kind of always hated Braylon Edwards after that. And rightfully so. He ended up being a fucking bum, except for the 2007 season. That was it. He was a fucking stiff. But getting back to Johnny Manziel is now shitting on Cleveland. He was on the Braylon Edwards podcast. Blah, blah, blah. Says he's rooting for the Browns to go 0-16 every year. He hates the city of Cleveland and blah, blah, blah. So why he wants to become a villain to a bunch of people that just wanted him to be good, I don't know. Like what the fuck did Cleveland do to you, dude? You did all of this yourself. But my rebuttal to Johnny Manziel, as he roots for us to go 0-16, and I think I speak for a lot of viewers and a lot of fans out there, Johnny, we all root for you to overdose one day. That will be the best news that's going to come across my social media page. Fuck you, you piece of shit. I look forward to the day you relapse and OD. You fucking dweeb. Fuck you, Johnny Manziel. And that's the end of Johnny Manziel ranting right there. He's just a piece of shit. You want to get yourself in the fucking news? I hope you come into the news in a different way soon enough. Everybody, of course, starts going on and on about how Shedeur was sabotaged by the Browns and how they didn't give him a fair chance. But when he went out there and played, he looked okay against Carolina. I had to really talk people down on that. And he played the game against the Panthers, and of course he threw 2 touchdowns, but I even came out, I told my friends, I was very honest about my breakdown of his film from that day, and I said, a lot of those passes were good because he was playing against the 3rd and 4th stringers on Carolina. When he faced a majority of the first team defense for the beginning of that game, it was punts. We didn't move the ball. When they started benching people and we were playing the backups and the 3rd strings, the ball started moving a little bit more. Some of the passes that he made, all while they were completed. Can't take that away from him. Very dangerous throws that more than likely against the first stringers are not completions and are likely interceptions. I know I'm playing a hypothetical card here, but that's what you do. There's a lot of people out there that just box score watch, and that happened the other day. I'll talk about college football in a minute, but obviously the Browns are probably going to be in the market for a quarterback next year, high in the draft. So looking at the prospects is smart. What do idiots do? They come out of the box score and they go, oh, Drew Aller went 22 of 29, and Arch Manning went whatever. I forgot what his stats were. Yeah, he looked like shit for sure. I'm not denying that. But looking at the box score is dumb as fuck because there's so many variables to a game that you don't see. Like these guys that do it for a living that are working for ESPN, I guarantee, are hardly watching these games. They look at the box score and they go, oh, this guy went, again, Drew Aller, I think he went 22 of 29 for one touchdown for like 300 yards over the weekend. Box score, fucking beautiful. Looks good. Got to watch the tape, though. You got to look at his pocket awareness. You got to look at the throws that he actually made. Did he make good reads? Was he check down captain? You know what I mean? Like, there's different variables to this, and that's what scouting means when you're scouting a quarterback. You don't just look at the box score. But I digress. We have a long time for me to talk about quarterback prospects coming out and why I like them and don't like them. But yeah, so Shedeur looked really good against the Panthers, but again, against third, fourth stringers. And then he did not play against the Eagles, and then he played against the Rams. And against the Rams, he looked like complete shit. Again, against third and fourth stringers. For all the people bitching and moaning that the guys blocking for Shedeur and the wide receivers that he was throwing to didn't make the team, the guys he was playing against didn't make their team, respectively. So there's levels to this. One of the things somebody brought up was the one time that he actually evaded a sack. He whipped the ball 100 miles an hour behind a guy's head, and it was an incompletion. So, of course, the Shedeur fanatics go crazy online and say, that wide receiver needs to be cut. He should have caught that ball, blah, blah, blah. Quick research, if you're so inclined. Not a wide receiver. That was a fifth-string running back that he threw that ball to. Not known for great hands, running backs. Most running backs are supposed to run the ball. If they catch a pass, awesome. Most of them are not great pass catchers. Nick Chubb hardly ever caught the ball because he wasn't a good pass catcher. This guy's a fifth-string running back who gets a ball rifled at him 100 miles an hour behind his head, and he swings his hands back, can't make the catch because he's running full speed the other direction, and everyone on social media is like, hit him in the hands, got to catch that. That's the laziest fucking take I've ever heard. I hate when people say it. There's a difference between a drop and what that was. That's why the NFL has that stat. That was not categorized as a drop because it has to be a catchable pass. If you throw a really good pass and the guy doesn't catch it, that's a drop. That's on the receiver. If you throw a shitty ball that a guy can just barely get a hand on, you can't just go, well, that's the rule. Touch his hand. You got to catch it. It's, I'd love to see anybody that says that go run a route full speed and let somebody throw you the ball, not tell you where it's going to be, and you make an adjustment and catch it full speed in pads in an NFL. Like, I know you obviously wouldn't be in an NFL game, but you can at least film yourself running that route, hell, even in shorts. I won't even make you put a fucking helmet on. Do it in shorts and make an amazing catch in one take. You don't get to keep doing it so it looks good on tape. You got to make it the one fucking time. Easier said than done. But again, everybody on social media that's trying to defend Shedeur, they're the first ones to come out and say, touched his hand, should have caught it. And I got into a lot of arguments with people. And exactly, it was a 100-mile-an-hour fastball flying at the guy's head. You're running full speed this way. The ball's behind you, so you have to then try to bend your body backwards at full speed. Good luck. But, according to armchair quarterbacks on Twitter and Threads and Facebook and all that shit, should have caught it. That's when I commented to people and I said, that was the fifth-string running back. That was literally the bottom of our depth chart running back who he threw that ball to. Doesn't matter. Hit his hands. That's always been the rule that I grew up with. If you touched your hand, it's like, dude, you're on a fucking YouTube chat. This was one of the guys I got into an argument with. Like, dude, you're in a fucking YouTube chat talking about Shedeur Sanders. Let's not act like you had some successful football career because your coach told you if it touched your hand, you got to catch it, if that even happened. How'd that work out for you? Because you're fucking not playing football. So it's just the people, same thing with a lot of times. And this was, I defended Deshaun Watson at times with some of the passes that he had, and I'm like, man, that one like didn't look good, but sometimes a bad pass is kind of the right decision. If there's a guy that's double covered and you need to throw the ball away, you're not going to risk an interception. And that's not even just Deshaun. You see it with other quarterbacks. The guy sitting next to you at the bar is going to be the first one to go, what the fuck? This guy why didn't he complete it to this guy? Why didn't he do that? And it's like, he's in a football game. He's got like 3 seconds to throw the ball, make a decision, survey the whole field, and easier said than done. I don't know. I hate armchair quarterbacks. I really do. That's why I don't like going anywhere to watch games. I like sitting at home. I have defended this stance for the last 10 years, and I will probably die on that hill. I hate going to games because the people around you are really stupid. I don't like going to bars to watch games because the people there are really stupid. I like just sitting at home, sulking in my own misery. That's what I do as a Browns fan. But yeah, so not a lot of craziness around the Browns. One thing though is that's why I like watching junior high and high school. You can see some cool football being played. Yeah, you get to see kids developing, and like trust me, I'm the first to admit it. It is painful for me to watch lower tier sports. I'm the first to admit it. I understand it. But like watching a Cavs game and then going to watch a Charge game, you're like, wow, the gameplay is so different. These guys are good. They're so fucking good. They would whip my ass in a game of basketball. They're not even close to the NBA. And it's the same thing with college, with the NFL, with high school and junior high. And I used to coach 6th grade girls basketball. So obviously they're nowhere near even the worst college basketball team. They're not even close to that. So yeah, like me, I just watch it and I'm like, in my head, I want it to be perfect. I'm like, okay, let's run this play. Let's do this. And then when they don't execute it, I'm like, okay, I gotta remember these are kids learning. This is they're honing their craft. And then when you accept that, it makes it way more fun. And that's for junior high school and high school. But then when you get to college, you kind of expect guys to be good. Like, you made a team, you're getting a scholarship more than likely. You should be pretty decent. We're not expecting you to go out there and be, a Heisman winner, everybody. You should be pretty good. And when you see guys that just suck and, it's irritating for me. But I do enjoy it every once in a while. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love watching college football and shit like that. It's just when I'm way more obsessed with professional sports than I am with anything else, any other level. So that's just me. But I agree with George. It is fun to sometimes just watch it. And when they're kids, there's not people critiquing every snap. You can just enjoy a game of football. Speaking of critiquing snaps, Texas, Ohio State, the biggest game of the week. And Steve, if you're still watching, I got your text. I'll let you know. It's really going to depend on how I'm feeling. So Steve is having his Browns party on Sunday for the game. Appreciate the invite. We'll see how I'm feeling because we are having my Browns tailgate party Saturday. So it depends on when I had the 4th of July party, I really didn't even get that drunk. It was more so just the cleanup and shit. That's the biggest thing. So we'll see how we're doing with that. And I will let you know. But yeah, so Ohio State played Texas. Okay, Steve is here. It doesn't show me who's watching or who's still on. So I didn't know. But I'll definitely let you know, Steve, just again, because we'll see how Saturday goes. Could be a shit show. Could be nice and easy. And I'll keep you posted. But Texas, Ohio State, the game of the year, we'll say, started off the week or the season technically, even though there's week 0 they have, which whatever, it's fucking stupid. Just give me a week 1. Why does it have to be so complicated? Anyway, so Ohio State takes on Texas. Number 1, Texas against number 3, Ohio State. And Arch Manning making his first start. Julian Sayin making his first start. Defending national champions, Lee Corso making his final college game day appearance before he retires. And this game had all the hype in the fucking world. It was going to be a shootout, or it was going to be a blowout from Texas beating Ohio State from most people's projections that I heard. Everything I heard was basically Ohio State's losing 14 players or whatever they lost, 14 starters from last year on either side of the ball. That's huge. But the one thing that I didn't understand from people that were talking like that, when you have a really good school like Ohio State that's known for rebuilding constantly, Ohio State, Alabama, LSU, whatever, they rarely have down years because they're consistently getting the best of the best prospects. So yes, they lost 10 plus players to the NFL draft. But you know what they did? They replaced them with probably another 5 to 10 players that are going to go to the NFL draft in a few years. So it's not like they're hurting for talent. It's just a matter of making sure these guys actually live up to the hype. And when you're a good school like this, you really don't miss too often. You get the top recruits for a reason, and they end up being pretty damn good. So with that being said, Ohio State takes on Arch Manning in his first career start, really his first game. I mean, he got a little garbage time every once in a while, but I'm calling it his first game. Yeah, Matt Patricia too, the defensive coordinator. Matt Patricia, I'm definitely going to talk about that defense. But going into the season, obviously Brian Hartline became the offensive coordinator. Matt Patricia became the defensive coordinator. Huge changes on with the players, the personnel. So next thing you know, everyone, at least that I heard, Paul Feinbaum especially, leading up to the game, shitting on the Buckeyes. Oh, Buckeyes are going to get blown out. Texas is going to whip their ass, blah, blah, blah. What's his name? Steve Sarkisian or whatever their head coach is. He's due for this, blah, blah, blah. Game kicks off. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous personally. I don't know what to expect. A lot of new faces, new quarterback, new running backs, still Jeremiah Smith, which is good. New offensive linemen, a lot of key components, key players. You still have Caleb Downs. That's great. So I'm watching the game and I'm a little nervous and kind of, not a whole lot happening. A lot of drop passes. I think Jeremiah Smith had 2 drop passes in the first quarter, maybe on the first 2 drives. He had 2 huge drops. Ohio State went for it on 4th down on their opening possession, and beautiful pass from Julian Sayin dropped. So guys were nervous, fully expected. I'm not even upset about it. I could sit here all day and bitch and moan, but these are kids. These are basically glorified children. They're 18, 19, 20 years old. I know technically, legally speaking, when you're 18, you're an adult, but we were all that age once. Do you consider yourself a legal adult at 18 to 19 to 20? No. Most of the time, I was really fucking stupid. I was doing really dumb shit, getting into trouble, just having fun because I was a kid. I'm still considering myself a kid. I get it. Legally, I wasn't a kid. But by far, especially boys, men, whatever you want to call them, we mature a little slower. So with that being said, a lot of nerves. Fun game, though. Nice defensive showdown. Really, Texas didn't get moving at all till late in the fourth quarter where they were able to score finally, make it 14-7, and that ended up being the final score. But if that first game is any indication as to how the season is going to go, the Ohio State Buckeyes might have the best defense in the nation by far. Obviously, it's one game, but you were going up against the number 1 Texas Longhorns. You weren't going up against Kent. You weren't going up against Buffalo or some fucking MAC school. You were taking on the number 1 ranked team in the country, and you basically shut them out. Yes, you held them to 7 points. I know it's not a shutout, but they were so close to a shutout. Excuse me. Great effort by the Buckeyes. Really good. Encouraging. Definitely need to see a little more out of the offense. Brian Hartline was super conservative with his play calling. But he's going to get comfortable. I'm not worried about it at all. I think they're eventually going to open it up with Julian Sayin. I also think, they were playing the number 1 ranked team in the country. So not only do you have Arch Manning making his first start, you have Julian Sayin making his first start against the best of the best. It literally doesn't get any better than who these guys faced. So the struggles were not unexpected. Overall, really good game. I'm not going to do a full college recap because I don't do that on the show. I don't care enough. Again, I'm not a diehard college fan. I watch for scouting purposes. When I watch games, I watch because I'm like, okay, I like this kid. I want to see how he performs at whatever position. Or if I watch a game and the guy sticks out, I make a note. Are they playing Grambling? Ohio State is. I honestly don't even know the schedule. That's rough. That sucks. Grambling State University. They are fucked. But hey, good for Ohio State. You had a tough one to start off. Now let loose. Put your foot on the gas. Be a nice little, I guess, preseason game almost, if you will, even though technically they already played. That is one thing that kind of made me realize, though, that college football should probably come up with a preseason because these kids looked rusty. Again, maybe they didn't. Maybe it was literally just because they're 2 really good teams, but everyone looked really fucking rusty in that game on Saturday. But Ohio State is now the number 1 ranked team, I believe, with that win over Texas, which, The preseason poll is so fucking stupid. You have a team that just went into the playoffs, beat everybody's ass, won the national championship, and they're coming back next year with a loaded roster, and college football is like, no, they're third. How the fuck do you put them third? They literally, the team you put the number one, Ohio State just beat. And they're like, nope, they're going one. It's just so stupid. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me. But whatever. That's why they do it. Again, everything that happens nowadays, for the most part, is just engagement bait. They did that so everyone would talk about it and go, why the fuck is Ohio State ranked third? They should be ranked one. And then Ohio State wins. And then, of course, there was controversy. Some people were like, I think LSU should go to number one, not Ohio State. Just, again, engagement bait. But what can you do? So there's your brief college football talk. Very brief. I went backwards. I realized. Sorry about that, George. Whatever. Really quickly, one more Browns note that I wanted to mention. I forgot. Quinshon Judkins still not under contract. There have been 1 million fake Twitter accounts that are posting that the Browns and Quinshon Judkins are close and he could have a deal signed by the end of the week. And then there's people that are like, yeah, I think he's going to play on Sunday. I don't believe anything. I don't know what the fuck's going on with this whole situation, if I'm being honest. I don't know if there's a holdup with his agent wanting guaranteed money and the Browns saying fuck you because he's going to be suspended. Or I don't know. I have no idea what the holdup is. It doesn't make any sense to me. He's literally the only unsigned player from this draft class. He was cleared of everything. They're not pursuing any charges or anything like that or anything against him. The NFL will likely still suspend him because it's a bullshit thing. And yeah, Mary Kay Cabot has actually been one of the proponents of that. She's been all over social media about Quinshon Judkins is close to a contract with the Browns, blah, blah, blah. It hasn't happened. It's been all off season. We start our season in 4 days. It's Wednesday night. It's basically Thursday. 3 days. The NFL season starts tomorrow. The Dallas Cowboys take on the Philadelphia Eagles. And don't get me wrong, don't worry, we are going to talk about what the Dallas Cowboys did a week ago tomorrow. But the season starts. The official NFL season kicks off tomorrow night. Regular season games. Tomorrow night, Friday night, Sunday. I can't fucking wait. Inject it into my veins. I love it. But Quinshon Judkins still not signed, still not disciplined by the NFL. The NFL officially announced the Rashee Rice. Not at least until week 4, George. The rumor I'm seeing, and again, I don't even know if I believe it because I don't know who the fuck these people are, but the rumors I've seen is 2 to 4 games, possibly for his suspension. He's in a negotiation with the NFL Players Association, which is kind of funny because he's not under contract. So he has the NFLPA defending him to the NFL to try to get his suspension lowered, whatever, but he's not even under contract. But the rumors that I've seen is it'll be 2 to 4 game suspension. Why is he not under contract? No fucking idea. Makes no sense to me. I don't get it. So that's a weird one. I don't understand what the holdup is with that. Like a month or so ago, Jimmy Haslam did his little press conference, and they said, when do you expect Judkins here? And he's like, we expect him here soon. Nothing. No progress. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Makes no sense to me. But that's Mary Kay Cabot for you, and that's the Cleveland media for you. They don't know shit. All right. Switching sports a little bit. There was some news about a week ago or so. Max Strus is going to be starting the season on the bench, recovering from his foot surgery. So him and Garland are both, I think they said, yeah. Look at George getting it done right there with the graphics. Max Strus out 3 to 4 months. He just had the surgery about a week or so ago. So that puts him into August, 3 to 4 months. You do the math. Likely, hopefully he's ready to play by January at the earliest. But as of right now, he's out. So we're down Garland. We're down Strus. But at the end of the day, if I've learned anything as a Cavs fan, regular season doesn't mean shit. So get healthy for the playoffs. What else can I really say? I like Max Strus, but I don't think he's that impactful of a player. Not having Garland will be huge, but not having Strus, I feel like you could overcome that. I'm not too worried about that one. But still important, though, something to keep an eye on. Foot surgery is no joke when you're a basketball player because he not only has to recover from the surgery, he has to then get back into shape and get himself ready to play and then come in and play and hope he doesn't re-aggravate anything. So pretty important surgery to have it done on your foot right before the season starts. But what are you going to do? Speaking of the NBA, this one is not on the list, George, because it just happened today. I don't know if you happened to see it, but interesting stuff coming out. There was an investigation done from Pablo Torres, I think his name is, or Tori. He may have uncovered one of the funniest, craziest stories I've ever heard. I didn't even. This thought has never crossed my mind, but it makes so much sense that a team can do it. In order to avoid the salary cap issues and to go into the second apron and blah, 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 there's a story, again, this is all alleged, that the owner of the Clippers signed Kawhi Leonard to a $25 million contract with a tree company to supplement his income. So this is part of his contract that's not on the salary cap. He has a endorsement contract with a tree company for $25 million. So basically, hypothetically speaking, let's say you have a star player and he wants to make $50 million a year, and you go, hey man, can't really afford that. But what I can give you is I'll give you $25 million a year, and then on top of that, behind the scenes, you can sign with my tree company for $25 million. And they already found out it's from the owner. As George has a story up there, if you want to, or $28 million, sorry, with Aspiration Inc. in 2022, a $28 million endorsement deal. And they found that the connection of this fake fraudulent company is the owner of the Clippers. I forgot his name. Is it Steve Ballmer? Is that his name? I don't remember his name. He might be in the article. Endorsement deal under the names, file bankruptcy, co-founder. No. It's not there. Clippers owner Steve Ballmer. Yeah, I was right. A source told Torrey that the deal with Leonard was put in place to circumvent the salary cap, a claim that further evidence by Clippers owner Steve Ballmer being one of the company's financial backers. What are the odds? He's one of the company's financial backers for this fraudulent tree company that's all of a sudden paying his star player $28 million. Pretty fucking funny. And again, what I was saying earlier is it's something I've never even thought about. Of like, yeah, why doesn't an owner do that? Like, okay, you want LeBron James on your team? Dan Gilbert? Okay, we can't afford him. All right, so LeBron, here's what we're going to do. We can't afford you at your $45 million, whatever he makes. I don't know how much he makes, $40 million a year, whatever the fuck. So what we'll do is we'll give you $10 million a year. So it looks like you're a good dude and you came here to play for the league minimum. And then I'm going to sign you to a Rocket Mortgage fucking commercial, and I'm going to give you $30 million to be in a Rocket Mortgage spokesman or something like that. There's your $40 million a year, but it's not on the salary cap. So I never even thought about that. That's actually brilliant until you get caught, of course. And now I'm very curious to see what happens with this because the NBA doesn't really fuck around when it comes to punishments. They like to set examples. And this one's pretty important, but it's also revolving around a star player who hardly plays, Kawhi Leonard, let's be honest. But he is one of the faces of the NBA right now. So this is not like some shitty bench player where you're like, whatever, this guy was getting a little extra money on the side, just fucking ban him, who cares? So it'll be pretty interesting to see what's going to happen with that. That story just broke today. So I don't know a lot of information on it yet. I just saw it and I was like, oh, shit. Really quickly, one more thing, only because I was on ESPN earlier, made me think about it. Chapel Bill, the Bill Belichick experiment in North Carolina is not off to a great start. He got his ass whipped on Monday night by TCU, and that just makes me happy because I've always hated Tom Brady and I've always hated Bill Belichick because they cheated to get their Super Bowls, and everyone acts like Tom Brady's the greatest player of all time because he has all these rings. All of his championships come with an asterisk next to them because they've all been connected to some sort of Deflategate, Spygate, all these fucking things. There was always cheating going on with them, and everyone just kind of glosses over it, doesn't care. I don't. So for that's why Tom Brady is not my GOAT. And I will stick to that. So seeing Bill Belichick get his ass kicked, getting embarrassed because of his fucking young girlfriend standing on the sidelines with him before the game starts, like just shit that you wouldn't expect from Bill Belichick, makes him so fucking unserious. And in my opinion, kind of tarnishes his legacy. Here's this dude who was known for no nonsense, fucking cut the sleeves off his hoodie, didn't take shit from anybody. He's benching guys that were really good and should have started because God knows what. Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl, still no idea why he got benched, but it happens. I think it was Malcolm Butler, wasn't it? Whatever. But you have this no-nonsense coach, Bill Belichick, Hall of Famer, blah, 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 it says greatest coach of all time, got his fucking ass whipped. Now, is that because college and professional is so different? Could be. Or is it just because he's no longer the authoritarian, I won't say dictator, but like a good head coach? Can he not handle these kids? Because he's got his girlfriend out there who's the same age as his teammates or as the kids he's coaching. I don't know. Either way, very happy to see him go out there and get fucking humbled on Monday night, and his kids, because he's got a bunch of kids on the staff. He's got his buddies hired, fucking Lombardi, his Steve Belichick is the defensive coordinator. They got their asses kicked. All this nepotism on this fucking North Carolina team, and it all backfired. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Oh, and Colorado lost also. Deion Sanders, for anybody that's keeping score on them. He's not a very good head coach. I'm just going to be honest. We can all stop with the Deion shit. He's not a good head coach. He's like 500 at Colorado. Not good. Anyway, the Cleveland Guardians are in a free fall. They got swept last weekend by the Atlanta Braves, which was fucking embarrassing. I know Chipper loved that. Carlos Santana, they released. So he's a free agent. They basically just kicked him to the curb because they're like, all right, we suck. We're just going to let these young guys play. So Carlos, you got to go. It makes sense. They should have traded him at the trade deadline, but I don't know why they held on to him for some reason. So now we cut him for nothing. But I mentioned last episode, I gave a funeral to this season for the Cleveland Guardians. And then they went out and played even worse than I jokingly predicted. So the season's over. They're done. They're not making the playoffs this year. They're a young team. They already did a bunch of roster call-ups here for September. Nothing I wasn't expecting. Again, I predicted them to finish fourth in the division this year. And I'm kind of right on pace with that. Not fun. It sucks as a fan of the team. Obviously, you want to see them succeed every year, but it's just the way it is, as Tupac said. Or Biggie, whoever the fuck. I don't even know whose song that was. I don't listen to that shit. Yeah, so that's that. All right. We're going to do Super Bowl picks really quick, and then we're going to get into our Week 1 picks, and we're going to do the Browns and Bengals preview. Super Bowl predictions here. Kyle and I were talking about it last week. Again, Kyle's on here tonight. He forgot to give me his predictions for the Super Bowl and for the division. So in no particular order, I'm not going to go who I think is going to be the 1 seed, 2 seed, blah, 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 blah. But I will do my my playoff predictions. So without further ado, and George, if you want to hop on and fill in for Kyle and give your predictions for your 7 playoff teams and your Super Bowl prediction, you can be more than welcome to do that with me. But I will start off. I'm going to go in the AFC. Obviously, I'm going to go Cincinnati as a playoff team. I just think they're going to be much improved this year if Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase can stay healthy. Their defense is garbage, but I do think their offense is really good. That their defense is bad, but it's not like historically bad to where they're like never going to be able to stop anybody. They'll get a couple stops here and there, and I do think their offense is that good to where it'll win them some games. So I have Cincinnati as a playoff team. Again, I'm not going in any particular order, so this is not my quote-unquote 1 seed. But I'm going Cincinnati. Going Kansas City. I never bet against Patrick Mahomes. I'm going Buffalo. I just think, that division is very bad. Miami's not a good team. New England's not a very good team. And the Jets are the Jets. So give me Buffalo to come out of the East. In the South, got to go with the Texans. So these are my division winners. I'm going Cincinnati to win the North, by the way. I want everyone to have that on record. I'm going Cincinnati to win the North. I'm going Buffalo to win the East. I'm going Texans to win the South, and then in the West, I'm going with the Chiefs. So those are my 4 predictions right there, at least for division winners. Now, wild card teams. This is where it gets interesting because the AFC is pretty wide open. I am going to go Baltimore as a wild card team. I think Baltimore is going to have a regression. I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago. Baltimore was the healthiest team in 2024, statistically speaking. They had the least amount of players that got hurt and go on IR. Hard to have that luck 2 years in a row. So I think Baltimore takes a little bit of a step back. I think that losing Justin Tucker is huge. Now you're Justin Tucker used to be an automatic, 40, 50-yard field goal guy. That's huge for your offense. Now you don't have that sure thing anymore. I forgot the kid's name. Sorry, George. Let me put on my headphone here. Forgot to put that back in. But yeah, so I think Baltimore will become they'll be a wild card team. I still think they make the playoffs, but it will be in the wild card facet. Next up, I'm going to go with the Chargers out of the West. I think the Chargers are going to be a pretty good team again. And I think this, if I'm not mistaken, this is the same exact, except for Cincinnati, the same teams that made the playoffs last year, because I'm also going to go with the Denver Broncos to represent the wild card. I think the Denver Broncos have a very good defense, and as long as Bo Nix doesn't suck, I think that the Broncos could sneak their way into the playoffs. The teams I skipped, I think the Raiders stink. I don't think they're going to be very good. I think football's passed Pete Carroll by. Their defense is garbage. They just had a guy kicked off the team for God knows what kind of funny business he was getting into in the locker room. They have Tom Brady as an owner, and if you've ever seen a picture of Mark Davis, that tells you everything you need to know right there about that organization. If he can't get a good haircut, the guy can't run a fucking football team, let's be honest. So the Raiders, no chance. In the South, the Colts suck. Anthony Richardson debacle's over with. Shane Steichen's going to be fired. The Tennessee Titans stink. They had the number 1 overall pick. They got Cam Ward. I don't think Cam Ward's very good personally, and I don't think he's enough to turn around the Titans in one season. And then you have the Jags, who, A, I think they just stink in general, and B, I'm also really hoping that they stink because the Browns have their first-round pick next year. Then in the North, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who I think the Aaron Rodgers experiment is 2 years already in the making. We saw what he did with the Jets, and he's not able to turn teams around. He doesn't have it anymore. I also think they're an overrated team. Their offense stinks. Their offensive line is really bad. Their wide receivers are shitty. They got DK Metcalf. Cool. Not too worried about him, though. The run game's average as hell. And then you got the Browns. I don't think the Browns are going to be as bad as everyone thinks, but I don't think they get more than 6 or 7 wins this year. So, not making the playoffs with that. And then in the East, as I said earlier, Patriots, I think, are up and coming, but I don't think they're going to be quite good enough. Excuse me. And then you have the Dolphins, who I think Mike McDaniel gets fired because he's wearing out his welcome down there in Miami. And then the Jets are the Jets, so they suck. So that is my AFC playoff prediction, and I'll let George take over here to give me his AFC prediction.
You're not off by too much. Pittsburgh, I think it's either one of the two things. It's either they pushed all in to turn around and do it this year, because I think if they don't, Tomlin's gone. I think he's on the hot seat. He truly is.
I think they 100%. This is an all-in year. That's why they got Aaron Rodgers. They traded for Jalen Ramsey. They're doing all these things because they said, fuck it. Yep. Mike Tomlin, this is his swan song. It's Super Bowl or bust, and he's resigning from the Steelers.
Yeah, he'll be done. This is it, and it's like it's either make it or break it, and this is the last hurrah. He's been playing with fire for the past 2 years, so 100%. The Patriots are actually the sleeper team that I'm looking at going.
I love Mike Vrabel. I really am a huge Mike Vrabel fan. Yeah, so I would not be surprised at all.
Yeah, that's one that intrigued me when I saw the roster, and I'm going, okay. I'm like, this is interesting. All right, well, let's see what happens. I don't think
it's going to
take Mike a long time to turn around and get that team, because they were already in a solid direction of turning that team around after Bill left. So he doesn't have too much more to push to get it where it needs to be. Usually I always say it's going to take 3 years for a coach to get his own stuff. Vrabel might do it in 18 months without too much of a problem. I think he might get it to where, hey, looking into next year, that's going to be a dangerous little team to look at again. So I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, the interesting thing for that is, and it happens with a lot of teams. You had Drake May drafted last year, top draft pick for the Patriots. Looked okay at times, didn't really look like a franchise quarterback, but obviously things can change. Now you have Mike Vrabel in there for year one. Did not draft this guy. That's a tough situation to be in when you're the head coach and you did not draft a quarterback. You owe him nothing. You owe him like the fans nothing with him. You can have a short leash on a guy like that because next year you might say, "Fuck it, I don't think he's good enough. I want to put my name on this team. I want my own quarterback."
Yeah, Mike's kind of been in that situation once before with Tennessee, though. So
yep,
I mean, when he got over there, I mean, and he made an omelet out of those eggs, so it wasn't too shabby. You know, he got all the.
He took the Titans into the 1 seed, I think, once or twice while they were down there. They were the best team in the AFC back when they had Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill. So yeah, he definitely knows what he's doing.
I think you're right. The Jets are the Jets. I'm bummed Aaron Glenn took the job because, again, this is now a second defensive coach who's going into the Jets and
to presumably get fired in a couple of years.
Offensive piece of work, and the ownership is just garbage. So it's just very unfortunate. I think Aaron Glenn, he'll still get another shot later on down the road, and more power to him when he gets that next shot. Because he's just in a very unfair situation right now with that team. A lot of players are even in an unfair situation there. I do not envy those guys. They are going to try to bust their butts this year, and they're going to get beat, and they're going to get beat hard, and it's going to wear on them. But they're going to go out there, and hey, they know they make millions of dollars, and it's their job to just go out and play football and just do the best that they can. And that's all I think Aaron's going to ask.
Just take that ass whooping like the Jets are used to.
Yep. Unfortunately. Yeah. Because everybody else is just that better. I actually would flip-flop Cincy in Baltimore.
Okay.
I think that's my only, out of everybody, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. I would just flip-flop Cincy in Baltimore, though. I'd say Cincy would be the wild card and Baltimore would be the division winner still.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm going with my thought process on a regression a little bit from Baltimore, but not enough to obviously miss the playoffs, but enough to cost them a win or two, which could then Cincinnati could surpass. Just based again, I think if he stays healthy, Burrow could have an MVP caliber season. And by having an MVP caliber season, that means you threw a lot of touchdowns, which means your team won a lot of games. So that's kind of where I'm going at with that.
I had to take Jamar Chase in a couple of leagues this year, and I'm like, well, let's
you
go.
Poor thing.
Let's go. Let's go, dude. If we're going to ride this train, let's go. I'll ride this train one time. Why not? In a couple other leagues, I just went, yeah, whatever. I'll take some.
All right. And then in the NFC, I will start again with who I think at least will win the divisions. I am going to go with, again, in no particular seeding order, I am going with the Philadelphia Eagles to win the East. I don't think there's much competition in that division anymore now after the recent trade that we'll talk about. I think the South, I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons to win the division. It's a bad division, and I like Michael Penix.
Okay.
I'm a fan of Michael Penix. I think the Falcons went all in. Their defense was really bad last year. They went all in the offseason to help that defense, so they're not messing around. For as well as Baker Mayfield has played for Tampa, the record is barely above 500 every year, but it wins a division because the division's so bad. So it doesn't take much for Atlanta to surpass. I also think that the Buccaneers defense is really bad. A lot of people aren't really talking about the Buccaneers defense, but their defense is pretty tough. Not in a good way. It's like pretty nasty, bad. So I think that's going to hurt them a few times, and I don't think Baker can overcome that. And I am going with the Atlanta Falcons to win the South. The North, that's tricky because of the news that happened last week. There are now two teams, in my opinion, that are up there neck and neck. And I am going to have to stick with Detroit just because I need to see what happens with Green Bay. They were my backup pick there for the North. And then for the West, this is where it gets very difficult because you got Georgia's Niners, but I think they're on a downslide. I'm not too confident in them being a very good team this year. The Seahawks are trying to be an up-and-coming team, but I don't love their acquisition of Sam Darnold as their franchise quarterback. I think that's a questionable move. The Cardinals, I don't know what to make of them. Same thing. I think they're a good team, but are they a division-winning team? And then who's the fourth team in the West? Who am I missing?
The Rams.
Rams, that's it. The Rams. You have Sean McVay and you have Matt Stafford on paper sounds really good. Matt Stafford's got a fucked up back. Yeah. So
He's jacked already.
the West is an interesting division. Just for shits and giggles, because I think they might have a decent year, give me the Cardinals as a surprise division winner, but I think it could be like the South, where 10 or 11 wins get you the division, and that could be the Cardinals. Now, for my wild card team, spoiler alert, I'm not taking any from the West because I don't trust them. Give me the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers might be able to sneak in as a wild card team. Give me the Green Bay Packers, and give me the Chicago Bears. I'm going 3 teams from the North. I think the Bears could be a surprise team. Caleb Williams, we'll see what he does. They went all in on that offensive line. They're doing everything they can to make that work with a good offensive-minded head coach in Ben Johnson. Very curious to see how that looks. I am not a J.J. McCarthy fan, and this is not a knock on Michigan because that's his alum, but I just don't think he's a very good quarterback. I don't think he has a good enough arm to be an NFL talent caliber franchise quarterback. So I am not buying the hype with Minnesota. I think they take a huge step back this year because they don't have Sam Darnold. Say what you will, he had an MVP caliber year last year. You're not getting that out of JJ McCarthy. So I think the Vikings take a gigantic step backward. So my 7 teams in no particular order: Cardinals, Falcons, Buccaneers, Eagles, Lions, Packers, and the Bears are my 7 playoff teams. What do you got, George?
The North, I agree. And I'm not buying the hype on Micah Parsons, who's already injured, by the way. So guess what? The Packers kind of fall a little.
Not just injured. It's like a permanent back issue. Like he has different vertebrae that are fucked up. Like that's not good. That's not something you just don't just take a week off and get better. Like that's life-altering surgeries to try to help that.
Right. Until somebody can beat Detroit. Yeah, I'm sorry. Detroit's got it. Back over to the West. The 49ers have the easiest schedule in the whole NFL. So that's why the Niners can sit there and go 12 or 13 because they have a cakewalk schedule.
But those other teams might be looking at the Niners and going, hey, it's an easy game.
The NFL just handed it to them. So, no, the Cardinals, Call of Duty comes out in mid-November, so we know that Kyler Murray will be after week 2 in November. So, we can count them out as usual.
I think a half asleep Kyler Murray could still win that division. I just think the West is that bad this year.
Yeah. The Seahawks, it's brutal. Cooper Kupp goes from one team to the other, and Sam Darnold slides in. It's like, okay, well.
Yeah, is Sam Darnold much of an upgrade over Geno Smith? Like, you know what I mean?
You went from grape.
If anything, I think he's worse.
Yeah. You kind of went grape jelly to strawberry, and it's like, ew. Sorry. But, no. The only thing coming out of the West, I think, is San Francisco. I don't think anybody else. We already mentioned Stafford. I mean, okay, you got Devontae Adams. Whoopee! You got one dude.
If Stafford could stay healthy, then I really think the Rams would be a playoff team. They're a fringe team for me, but I just don't trust Stafford at 40 years old with a bad back, taking all those hits in the pocket and not getting a serious injury and missing significant time.
And I'm still nervous about Puka Nacua because of his knee injury, and that still weighs on me a little bit. I actually only last night drafted him in my first out of 5 drafts I've done. It was the only time I've drafted him yet, so I have not even looked his direction at all because of.
I didn't touch him not only because of his own injury, but because of, God forbid, if Stafford gets hurt. I looked at that and I said, well, if Stafford can't play, it's Jimmy Garoppolo, who I don't trust. So I don't want Puka Nacua on my team, so I didn't touch any Rams players this year.
Yeah. In the East, Philly, yes. Washington, again, I think will repeat and will be a wild card team in there. I agree with you about Chicago. I don't think it's going to quite get there. I think they'll be close. But Green Bay would be the other wild card team for me. And then out of the South, I disagree. I think Atlanta's still in the toilet, and Tampa Bay still comes out smelling like a rose.
Okay.
So
Well,
that's about who I got. I still think Atlanta still needs another year.
the NFC is loaded. That's why it's really tough to come with 7 teams. Because I mean, like you'd mentioned Washington, and like Jaden Daniels was fantastic last year.
But they didn't.
Can you replicate that?
They didn't lose much of anything, and
No.
in fact, all they did was gained. You know, they were sitting there trading Brian Robinson. It's like, dude, because you've got a stable of running backs, you can afford to trade him, sure. And it's like, all right, you traded him off to San Francisco, who went, thank you, because at the rate we blow through running backs, yeah, we're going to need another guy. So that's why the Niners are carrying 5-6 running backs right now. And
my concern with the Commanders is Jaden Daniels, A, staying healthy, and B, being able to replicate his rookie season. Because a lot of times, I know I just said Caleb Williams, I think, could possibly make the playoffs, but a lot of times guys go through the sophomore slump. The year 2 is very real. That's where professional defensive coordinators go, all right, I have a full year of this guy's tape. I'm going to study every fucking move he makes, and we're going to shut him down. Easier said than done, sure, but it happens. And with Jaden Daniels and the Commanders last year, they won so many games on last minute, like a Hail Mary and some freak plays right at the end of the game, that I feel like that luck runs out. And without that luck, they probably aren't a playoff team last year. So, and unless they've taken those steps to go forward, they need that luck again. The lightning doesn't always strike twice. So I am going with them to not make the playoffs this year. But it's tough. I mean, the NFC's wide open.
Oh yeah, for sure. I just know that there are quarterbacks who break that mold, like Mahomes. You know,
sure. Oh, absolutely.
You totally break it. So, you know, like I said, the way I look at it, it's a strong offensive line. They protect the kid real well, and he's not afraid to go when he needs to go. He's very. We always say this now in the coaching arenas of being cerebral and making, you have that general on the field, and he knows what he needs to do. He knows what moves are, if something breaks down, he knows how to handle it. And I'm just looking at it going, dude, yeah, Patrick does the same thing. And it's just like, okay, next. And that's what's scary about the kid. And I was just looking going, dang it, San Francisco could have had him. That'd have been fun.
Now you got Brock Purdy, who's doing cowboy boot commercials, so you got that going for you.
I didn't.
Gotta love that.
I really didn't bring that up. Thanks a lot.
I couldn't resist.
Who do you got for your final 2, though?
My final 2, and this is just kind of more wishful thinking than anything, just because I'm kind of, don't get me wrong, I like Patrick Mahomes. I like Travis Kelce. I'm okay with them going back to the Super Bowl. But just for shits and giggles, I would love to see the Buffalo Bills defeat the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl. I would fucking love that Super Bowl. 2 smaller market teams, 2 teams that have had nothing but heartache and misery for the last, 50 years. One of them goes to this. They both go to the Super Bowl. One of them has to win. And I'm pulling for Buffalo this year.
That's scary, because Buffalo, it's just looking at the wide receivers, and I'm like, man, you guys need to pull something together. I mean, in fantasy leagues, nobody's even touching a wide receiver.
No,
they'll take Josh Allen, but there is not a wide receiver anywhere sniffed. And it's just like, well, what are you guys going to do? Unfortunately, it's not a favorable pick, and I'm not a big fan of it. But I've got Baltimore going back again, and unfortunately, it's another loss. But it's because Detroit finally gets the act together, and Detroit actually wins. I have Detroit in Baltimore.
As long as Baltimore doesn't win, I'm happy with that. So if they make it, whatever, go ahead and take that big Lamar Jackson L.
Yeah. And I've got Detroit beating Baltimore.
Okay. I like those picks. All right, everybody. Without further ado, it is time for everyone's favorite part of the year, it is time for picks. Kyle did get his picks in for us. Now, unfortunately, George doesn't have the spreads on there, so I'm going to have to open up another page.
They're there.
Let me make sure.
They're
Oh, they are?
Yep.
Oh, it's. I don't have it zoomed in, so here we go.
Right in the middle there.
Oh, there it is. Okay, perfect. Yep.
Yeah, if you go large, they're right smack dab in the middle here.
All right. So see, I'm getting different spreads because I have. Let me open it up here. I have ESPN pulled up right here, and they have it at Philly 7.5.
Oh. All right.
So we're a little different. I'll read them off. You tell me if they're the same. I have Kansas City -3.5.
Yep.
Tampa Bay -1.5.
2.5 here.
Okay. Cincy -5.5.
Yep.
Indy -5.5 or 1.5. I'm sorry.
Half.
Okay, they're 1.5 on ESPN. New England -2.5.
Yep.
Arizona -6.5.
Yep.
Pittsburgh -2.5.
3.5 here.
Okay.
You get the Jacksonville, Carolina.
Jacksonville, Carolina. I have Jacksonville -3.5.
Yep, that's the same.
I have Washington -6.5.
Yep.
Denver -8.5.
Yep.
San Fran -2.5.
Yep.
Green Bay -2.5.
Yep.
Rams -3.5.
Yep.
Buffalo -1.5.
A half here.
Okay, and then Minnesota -1.5.
Yep. So just
Okay.
a couple of them. Just a couple of them differential. Not too.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So Kyle did send his spread in. He gave me, where is it? Let me make sure I got it right. He's taking the Chargers +3.5 for his pick points pick. So I'm gonna make sure I jot that one down. So yeah, +3.5 for the Chargers. I want to get that down there so I don't forget. Truthfully, I don't know which one I want. I have an idea. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So let me get back to our show here, and we will go in order. Starting tomorrow night, I am going to be taking the Philadelphia Eagles. This, to me, is a no-brainer, especially after that trade. I think Dallas is going to have a very, very struggled year. So give me Philly, no question about it.
I was going to say, I would take that one in the points, and heck, I'd make it 10.
Well, the only thing that has me a little bit questionable with that is Dallas did bring in George Pickens. We'll see what it does, but their offense might be okay. They can score some points. The guy they got back in the trade with Green Bay is a Pro Bowl defensive tackle. It's no slouch, but do I think it helps them? I mean, you lost Micah Parsons. That's gigantic. So the point spread's a little high for me, so I'm not touching that one, but I will take Philly on the money line.
And I like, and everybody's bashing it, but I'm sorry. I like Javonte Williams, and to have him in Dallas, it's like, hey, okay, guess what? Dallas finally needed a solid running back, and I think
A pass catching running back.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think they got him. I don't think that it's a bad thing. In fact, I picked up Williams in the last round of 2 different drafts already.
He went in both of mine. I had him on my list. I didn't get a chance to pick him up because somebody else got him, but I wanted him.
I got him dead last.
All right. Who did Kyle take?
Kyle. Yeah, it's a
Philly also.
Philly all day. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a
+3.5 LHC for Kyle there. For Friday night's game on YouTube, I'm excited about that. I am taking the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. So I am taking the Chiefs, and I'm not touching the points. Kyle, I don't know who he's taking off the top of my head, but I know he is taking the 3.5. He is taking the Chargers to win also.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes, he is. He's going all in. That game, that should actually probably be it's going to be a good game. Usually
I'm so excited for it.
You got those 3 points for a home setup, but it's like, you know what? That's going to be a good chess match. I'm looking forward to it.
Because they're in another country, aren't they?
Is that the Brazil game?
I think it is. Yeah, it's in another country. So that's why, there's really no home field advantage because you're
Yep.
in another country. But I'm excited. I love a Friday night game for an NFL. It's so fucking cool. Yeah, so when Kyle sent me the picks earlier in the text, I did not look at them. I just copied and pasted and sent it to George. So that's why I don't even know who he took. I don't like to be influenced by anything. That's what makes our picks very fun for the year. Next up, Tampa Bay at Atlanta. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I said I think Atlanta is going to be the team to come out of the South. You got to win week 1 at home in a division game. I am taking the Atlanta Falcons with a new look. Michael Penix, Bijan Robinson. Give me Atlanta.
Kyle and I are both rolling Tampa Bay.
Baker Bros for life.
Ironically, this is the first year I've snagged Mike Evans and I did grab Baker in a couple of drafts. So sitting there going, well, all right, I'll see what.
I think I got Mike Evans in one league because Mike Evans he's a stud. The dude gets 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns at least every year. Like you can't go wrong with the guy.
I said I needed to pay attention to some wide receivers finally, and I'm like, okay, I'll have to give it.
Yeah,
he's fell in my lap. I'm like, okay, my turn, I guess.
Obviously, we do the Browns game last, so we'll skip that one for now. We will get into Miami at Indy. This is basically a pick'em game.
This is ugly, dude. This is ugly.
This is your first prison inmate game of the year. Yeah, or game of the week. Right.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe we spoke too soon because don't look too far ahead. The game right below it might be worse.
No.
Yeah, at least you got Travis Hunter. That's true.
Yeah, no. This is it. This is totally it.
In pick'em games like this,
contenders, but this is just.
Yeah, this one's ugly.
This is where on my show we pull out the wheel and let the wheel decide who.
So in a game like this where it's pretty much pick 'em, I just go with the home team. I always stick with that. So I'm taking Indy just because they're at home.
Yeah, all Miami has is just Tyreek Hill and Tua. I mean, A-Chain's hurt.
Yeah.
He's in.
Yeah, they have no running game. Their defense stinks.
Yeah. God. Can it end in a tie? I'll take the tie. I'm going to take
it's the regular season. It sure can end in a tie.
I'll take the tie. Kyle actually takes Miami.
Interesting. Okay.
I'll roll with the tie. We'll go 6-6. I'm good with that.
Next up, we have a game that I hate picking because I want them to lose. I want them to go 0-17. Like Johnny Manziel feels about the Browns. I want this to happen to the Jacksonville Jaguars, but unfortunately, I'm going with Jacksonville at home against Carolina. I don't think Carolina is going to be very good. So give me Jacksonville at home.
Yeah, Carolina losing Adam Thielen, ironically, I think does hurt. You needed a veteran wide receiver to kind of work with that squad, and
him and Bryce Young had a really good camaraderie last year too. It rejuvenated his career.
And I think that's going to hurt Carolina. So I am going with Jacksonville too. And so is Kyle.
All right. Next up, we have the Las Vegas Raiders at New England Patriots. I think the Raiders are going to stink this year. Their defense is really fucking bad. Give me New England at home.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a shootout, actually. I think this will be where fantasy dudes are going to be like, oh, yeah, we're going. I think 100%. I think this is a shootout because I think both defenses, as much as I know that Vrabel wants to tighten it up, I think both defenses are kind of weak in this one, and this one's all offense. But New England's offense, Vegas may have Geno Smith. They just got Amari Cooper in.
Genti.
Yeah, and Jacoby Myers is sitting there trying to worry about a contract.
Wants a trade,
Which you're like, okay, that's going to be a locker room disaster. So, I think Vegas still falls short by about 8 to 9 points on this. I think New England rolls with it. And it looks like Kyle disagrees with that, and he likes the Raiders.
Really? Okay. I actually wrote New England because I just assumed that's who he was taking. Okay.
Nope.
Did not see that one coming.
Yeah, neither did I. I was like, okay, he kind of thinks a little bit of that offensive luck could work. We'll see.
All right. Next up, we have Arizona at New Orleans. This is going to be my pick 'em or spread pick. I am taking Arizona -6.5. I think the New Orleans Saints are the worst team in football by a fucking mile. They've admitted they're starting Spencer Rattler. I watched him play a couple times last year. Horrible. I think they're just going to be one of the worst teams in the league. Give me Arizona.
Yeah, you only have Kamara. You have no Taysom Hill even to turn around. Okay, you brought Cooks goes back home, and it's just like, dude, yeah, but you know what? You're trying to stretch Olave if you can keep him healthy, and it's just looking bad all the way around for New Orleans. And
even then, they have some talented players, but at the same time, when your quarterback is Spencer Rattler, I don't care who your wide receivers are.
That line stinks. That offense.
Yeah, their offensive, their line stinks. They have no Taysom Hill, which is always their wild card. They don't have tight ends. They're just not a good team at all. And then they wasted that draft pick on Tyler Shough, who got benched. Like, he's a 27-year-old rookie or whatever the fuck. And now he's on the bench.
Cleveland screw up from Whedon about drafting 27-year-olds. Come on. No, actually, I think New Orleans goes the whole goose egg. I don't think they win a game at all this year.
I 100% can see that.
Their schedule's brutal. It's not favorable at all. At all. So, yeah, I think I went Arizona. Kyle went Arizona.
Okay. And next up, we have Pittsburgh at the Jets. For me, I think this one's going to be pretty easy. I'm taking Pittsburgh just because the Jets are the Jets. They're really bad. I think Justin Fields is going to look like a fucking idiot out there. Mike Tomlin's going to have them ready to go. Do I think Pittsburgh's going to come out and look great? No. I think they're going to kind of struggle. They usually do week one. They play slow, and then they pull away in the second half. And I think this is going to be no different. So give me Pittsburgh here.
This game concerns me just because it's Aaron Rodgers back on that field. I just don't know. I'm just like, could he have flashbacks and all?
In Aaron Rodgers' defense, if you go back and look at his 2024 statistics, he actually had a pretty good year. He didn't really play that bad last year for the Jets. The Jets as a team were garbage, but Aaron Rodgers actually had a decent year. So for him, the memories maybe aren't all that bad. He gets to look back and go, hey, I got huge paychecks and didn't have to do much. But I think I can't pick the Jets to win.
I am going to pick the Jets to win. Kyle took Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I like Justin Fields and Breece Hall. I think that's a pretty solid combination when you're going to be running for your life anyway.
Did you see their
try to flip it around?
Their best offensive lineman just got lost for the year today.
Yeah, I saw that.
Vera Tucker got hurt again.
Yep. Again, yeah. So they've done it without him before. So I was like, yep.
They didn't do much.
No, but I think that, like I said, I think with it being Justin Fields back there, it's a different story. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be a blowout game by any stretch. I'd say 17-15 tops. It's going to be pretty low. It's going to
I think Vegas thinks it's going to be close to that too, just based on the spread.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those boring games.
All right, next up, we've got, does anybody want the Giants? I'm taking Washington. I can't imagine anybody else is going against that.
It is. He's got Washington. I'm definitely going Washington. Yeah, Giants.
I feel like that's the no-brainer pick.
Yeah, the Giants are not ready yet. I mean, you went and got Russell Wilson, who's now aging, and then Jameis Winston. Yeah, okay, he's a social media hype artist. Until Dart's out there, I don't think you can take the team seriously.
Well, they already said Dart's the number 2, so Jameis is the third-string quarterback. So
like I said,
it's only a matter of time before Dart is going to be the starter. Could be just a few weeks. We'll see how long that leash is on Russell Wilson. All right, and now we move to, I believe, are we in the 4 o'clock block now?
Yep, I set it up that way, sir. Yes, sir.
Beautiful. Yep. Tennessee at Denver. I think this is going to be a clean sweep for Denver. That spread is kind of enticing, even though it's high. But I'm going to take just Denver for the win.
Yeah, I mean, man, there's not a whole lot. Although I like having Tyler Lockett there, that brings some veteran leadership for that group, especially for the wide receiver room, because it's been missing for a while. So I think
The only thing that might help them is I think obviously you have Calvin Ridley, you've got Tyler Lockett, you've got Tony Pollard at running back.
Yeah.
And now you have Brian Callahan in year 2, or I'm sorry, not Brian Callahan, his dad. Can't remember his first name. The one who he was with the Browns, the offensive line coach. But he is now in year 2 with the Tennessee Titans, and I expect that offensive line to be much, much improved because Bill Callahan, that's the name I'm looking for, because Bill Callahan has been there for 2 years. So if he gets that offensive line in shape, their offense might not be terrible. Their defense is really bad, though. So that's why Tennessee is going to be one of the worst teams in football, in my opinion. And I think starting off in Mile High against one of the best defenses in football, Sean Payton, good luck. I am going with the Broncos. I am assuming Kyle did as well.
Yes.
All right. Next up, we have the Niners going to Seattle. San Fran minus 2.5. Pretty interesting spread there. This is tough. Again, I don't have a good vibe on any team from the West this year. San Fran just gave Brock Purdy a bunch of money, but they lost Deebo Samuel. Juwan Jennings is coming off an injury. He was asking for a trade a couple of weeks ago. Brandon Ayuk is not going to be playing. Ricky Parasol, I think, is kind of overrated. Maybe he'll be good, but I think he's very overrated for a guy who hasn't done anything yet. Again, I think he could be good, but I feel like the way people are trying to hype him up already is a little early. You have Christian McCaffrey. For fantasy, he was one of the most hyped up players, and I was like, this guy's barely played. Like, how the hell is he already getting put up there with as a top wide receiver?
Yeah, no, he was around 10th round for us.
That's fair. Then you got Christian McCaffrey, who, if he's healthy, is a stud, but hasn't been able to stay healthy in many moons. So a lot of question marks for San Francisco. Obviously, you expect their defense to be pretty good, led by Fred Warner, who's one of the best defensive players in football, let alone linebackers. But then you're going against Seattle, Mike McDonald, I think, is going into year 3 as a head coach. They now have Sam Darnold. They did bring in Cooper Kupp. Their offensive line still kind of stinks. Defensively, they didn't do a whole lot of additions there. So I don't know what to
subtractions. They lost.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of Seattle this year. So with that being said, I'm just going to have to go with the team that I think has a handful of better players, and I'm going with the Niners.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much going to be the Moody show, believe it or not. I think
Moody.
I think Moody gets about 4 field goals on this one. And I even already started harassing Bryce going, well, you get your butt whooped in week 1 right off the get-go. And he's like, I don't think so. And I was like, oh, I know so. So the battle of the household has already begun, and it gets to start.
That's the beauty of football season, is you get to start talking shit.
Yeah, my wife's not happy about it, though.
Next up,
Kyle took 49ers too.
Okay, I completely forgot about that. Good call. Next up, we have Detroit at Green Bay. Green Bay now has Micah Parsons. Is he going to be playing? To be determined. I don't think so either. I think Detroit's got kind of a chip on their shoulder. They, of course, lost in the playoffs again. They lost a bunch of coordinators. I think a lot of people are looking at them as going to be going into a down year. I think they have a lot of people to prove wrong, and it's a division game. If you want to win your division, if you want to be a Super Bowl contender, you got to win games like this, and I think Detroit comes away with the W, even in Green Bay.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm shocked that they're the underdog, personally.
Yeah, and Kyle took the Packers. I don't know why. Because, yes, Detroit lost the 2 head coordinators, but guess what? The assistants right behind them were being groomed to just fill right in. So yeah. I don't think Detroit's going to skip a beat. A lot of guys are healthy and are back. Like I said, I don't think there's an issue. I have them winning the Super Bowl. I have that team all the way this year. So, yes, I got Detroit winning this one.
All right, next up we have Houston at LA Rams. This one's tough because, again, Matt Stafford is dealing with a pretty bad back, kept him out of most of the preseason. I think he's just going to come out and be rusty just because it's the first game of the year for him with no preseason, basically. I think Houston's going to be a young, hungry team. They had kind of a disappointing year last year, so give me Houston to win this one on the road over the Rams.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think C.J. Stroud learn from that sophomore slump, which we know happens to some of these guys. And I think CJ knows okay, I know what I can do to make corrections on the fly. I know what to do to help manage the game. And he's got another new toy to play with. He's got a Higgins, believe it or not.
And Nick Chubb now too.
And he's got Nick Chubb. So, hey, listen, and let's not sleep on Dameon Pierce just yet, because
I picked him up in fantasy.
He's shown that he can turn around and still tote that sucker. Don't look past him on that. Don't look past him at all. So yeah, the Rams, no Stafford this week, bad back, and even if he gets shots or whatever to get that back going, I don't see a lot of positivity in this one.
Yeah, I just think with no preseason, basically, that it's tough to come out there that rusty. A lot of teams, when they don't play their starters in the preseason, come out in week one and they look like shit. It happens more often than not.
And Kyle took the Rams.
Okay. A lot of different picks this week in week one. This is going to make or break the season right off the rip.
Yes, it is.
Next up, we have the Sunday night football game of the week. I'm very excited for.
Good pick on. Good job by the NFL.
They usually do it right in week one.
Yeah, for Sunday and Monday night. Good job on both game setups. Very nice job.
I hope I'm wrong, but give me Baltimore. I hate to do it, but give me Baltimore. I think Lamar Jackson's going to come out possessed. He's pissed off he didn't win the MVP last year. They want revenge after losing to Buffalo in the playoffs. It's not cold out. It's not snowy. No excuses or dropped passes, which is what cost them the game against Buffalo in the playoffs. I think Baltimore is going to take this game very serious. Not to say Buffalo doesn't, but I do think that's going to be a little more emphasis for Baltimore to come out and win before their regression starts. I'm giving them week one, and then their regression starts.
I don't disagree at all. For everybody looking for, football's flying, this is not your game. This is going to be nothing but run. If you're a running back fan and you got running quarterbacks, you have running backs, this is going to be your ball game. Do not look at this as a shootout ordeal. It is, that ball will not be in the air that much. These guys will be running and they'll be showing as far as who's got the bigger strength. This is going to be a great football game. But Baltimore's line, I think defensively is just still a little bit better than Buffalo.
And they added Mike Green, which was a big get in the draft for them.
Yep. So that's why I'm taking Buffalo too. Kyle also is taking Buffalo. Or I'm sorry.
Baltimore.
We're taking Baltimore. Yeah, we're all taking Baltimore.
All right, and then Monday Night Football, last but not least, give me the Chicago Bears. Again, I think Chicago is a new, rejuvenated team, and I don't believe in J.J. McCarthy, and Chicago's at home. I think that home field advantage is going to pay dividends for them. Give me the Bears.
Yeah, Ben Johnson, this is the, hey, this is what I can do party, and I got, again, like you said, though, it's like, oh, this isn't the quarterback that he picked, but guess what? We've seen Ben can work with anybody. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, and
I think he took this job specifically because he said, I can work with this guy.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, there's a running back that kind of already knows his system too, and DeAndre Swift. Hello.
Yep.
Chicago couldn't have gotten in a nicer little situation.
I think they're going to be a nice team to keep an eye on this year.
And they got rid of Keenan Allen, which is definitely a plus.
Let's just forget that year of his career even happened, because that was a non-factor. I'm taking the Bears. I think George sounds like you're taking the Bears. And who did Kyle have?
Kyle also is taking the Bears. He's taking Chicago too.
Okay. And last but not least, I'm not going to do a full breakdown in this game because it's week one. I don't have a whole lot to break down. You guys know the ins and outs. We're going with Joe Flacco. We got to see what he has in the tank at 40 years old. We have to see what the Bengals look like. It's week one. Is their defense as bad as everyone's predicting? Is their offensive line as bad as everyone's predicting? Is the Browns' defense going to be as good as we expect them to be? All to be determined. We have to play the game first. With that being said, as much as I would love for the Browns to come out and kick their ass, I'm not projecting the Cincinnati Bengals to win the North and for Joe Burrow to win MVP because they come out and lose week 1 to the Browns. As much as I would love it, I have to go with my gut, and I think the Bengals are going to come away with this game. I do think it could be relatively close. I think, Vegas has it at -5.5, so they do think it's going to be within 1-score game, which would be really nice. However, I do think the Bengals are going to be on the winning side of that. And again, the breakdown for next week's game will be much bigger because we'll actually have things to talk about. Right now, it's week 1 of the regular season. We don't know what's going to happen. We know who the team is on paper. That's about all I can give you. So give me Cincinnati.
Yeah, we know the players. Ironically, it's like we know the players on Cincinnati. We know what's coming. Cleveland, I'm sorry, no running game. I hate to tell you. One, you drafted the wrong Ohio State running back, you morons. And kudos to New England for grabbing him.
They put Trayvon Henderson 4th on the depth chart, so I think we're okay.
It's, like I said,
subject to change, but
yeah, everything is on that. In fact, somebody said, "Oh, Washington's got Bill sitting back at 4th," and it's like, well, no, I looked at the depth chart things, and they are not updated. So do not, whatever you're reading and seeing online, don't hold water on it because nothing's gotten official yet.
Yeah, so you don't know till the game starts and they're actually giving out snaps.
They're actually going to turn around and tell you. Yeah, it's kind of like just before the draft when they're telling you about all these trades. It's a smokescreen, folks. You'll know when you see these guys out on the field. You'll know where they're at.
I'm guessing Kyle took Cincy as well.
Yeah, Kyle took Cincy as well. This is going to be really hard to. I don't envy you every single week having to break down this squad and just the trials and tribulations again that this squad's going to. I mean, you guys had a lot of patience last year. And I think your patience is going to get tested again this year.
Yeah, the one good thing about this year, though, which is, keys to the game, in my opinion, I'm watching all the young players where the Browns are clearly in a rebuild phase and they went young in the draft. They went young with undrafted free agents. Now let's watch these young kids. Let's watch Carson Schlesinger. Let's watch Mason Graham. I want to see these young kids and see them play well. Watch the development. I want to see Harold Fannin. I want to see Dylan Sampson. I want to see all these young dudes get a little playing time, get out there. Isaiah Bond getting some catches, all this shit. Gage Larvin is probably going to get some good playing time and kick returns, etc. So watch these young guys. These are guys who could potentially be a huge factor on this team in 5 years. And that's why it starts on Sunday. So go Browns. I am unfortunately picking the Bengals to win the game, but just watch the young kids. Hopefully everyone comes away healthy. Let's, no big injuries and keep it close. At least that's all I can ask for. It's 9:00. My wife is already texting me because she has some dinner and stuff down there waiting for me. So we're going to do just the tip really quick, and we are going to call it a day. So my just the tip this week is a movie I watched last weekend, Superman, the new James Gunn film. He knocked it out of the park. I absolutely love James Gunn. I love everything he does. I love from Peacemaker to the Guardians of the Galaxy franchises to Superman. Crushed it. Cleveland is so well represented in this movie, although it's obviously supposed to be Metropolis. So I was thinking of another DC, whatever. It's all the same. But they did such a good job with everything. Like you can see buildings and you're like, oh shit, that's Cleveland. The fight inside of Progressive Field. They didn't even try to make it not look like Progressive Field. And that's what I liked about that. They did such a good job. He already announced today that they're going to have another Superman movie coming out in 2027. Part of me really hopes they film it in Cleveland again. I think that would be really cool. And we'll see. James Gunn had nothing but good things to say about Cleveland after they filmed the last movie here. So hopefully they do it again. And hopefully he does just as good of a job, because Superman, if you haven't seen it yet, was fucking awesome. I really enjoyed it. So check it out if you haven't. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us for the start of the 2025 NFL season. Is in 24 hours, just a little less than that. I cannot wait. And we will talk to you guys again on next Wednesday. We'll break down the week 1 games. We'll give our week 2 picks. We'll talk about it. Whatever is going to happen in the meantime. Maybe we'll spend a little more time in the Micah Parsons trade because we didn't have time for it tonight. Or maybe I'll just say who gives a fuck, because at the end of the day, who gives a fuck about the Packers and the Cowboys? All right, everybody. That's going to do it for me. And thank you to George for filling in for Kyle today. And George, we'll have you on next week. Also, I'd like you to do your picks with us if you don't mind. So
No problem.
we'll do that next week. And thank you guys for watching. Cleveland, that was for you.